I think if you're gonna do it all. Let's get it all done with, let's not come next month or whatever with another group. If you're gonna do it all.
I think that's part of the conversation for the committee.
So right now it's just a conversation at this point.
Yeah.
It's not doing anything in
Well,
surveys.
that's true, but then it depends on, so if you get more than 10 people, I think it has to get all over the place.
Additional discussion from the board. Would you read that motion one more time? So we know what we're talking about here.
Barnes made a motion to authorize the establishment of a committee not to exceed 10 individuals. And then he said, including or not including yourself?
Including.
Including, okay, including yourself.
As the chair.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Move to vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Roll call.
Lewis.
Yes.
Foreman.
Yes.
Kaiser.
No.
Kramer.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Tomcheck.
No.
Seabrook.
No.
Alice.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
We have 2 no and 7 yes.
I think it's 3 no.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. 3 no, I'm sorry. Yeah, and 6 yes.
Motion passes. Moving on, item number 10E, update school perceptions climate and culture survey. Just as an update, we did send out the board president heads up email to all staff on the 1st of 2017, May of 2017. This survey was launched on the 3rd. I believe the reminder was sent, the last chance reminder was sent, and the survey closed yesterday. So we look forward to seeing the information from school perceptions
I
in
think
the
you
short
skipped
term.
one. You skipped the Mike Kaiser's son.
Oh, yes, I did, I'm sorry. Ben got ahead of me here. Okay, well, I won't re-update on the school perceptions unless there's any discussion. I'll move up to 10D, which is discussion and possible decision, approval to develop a committee to organize annual recognition of Mosinee School District alumni.
So this agenda item, we talked about with Mike and April, and Mike asked that we bring it back so that the board would have a discussion about this issue and take action on directing. And that could include board members, administration, and staff to move forward in developing an alumni recognition program. I know that we just had a motion for one board member to be in a committee. I would just caution the board that if you are going to form a committee, there probably should be several of you on the committee. I think it's always helpful because it, does the load of the work a little bit more. So rather than just having one person on it, maybe a couple of you would want to be on it.
I do.
If you're going to make a motion for another committee to move forward, and as we talked about Butler, that's a good way to do things. If you want to see something go forward, then let's have a committee and let's involve other people to make that decision. And then, so I would, that's the direction I would go for.
I know of a lot of people out there, but I don't know how to get a hold of them.
But how about if we had a committee where we sat down with staff? Because when I surveyed other schools, how do you do this? They have, some of them have their librarians, some of them have their department chairs, some of them, but they have a staff member get the whole process ready. So there's gonna have to be a process of, how can I nominate an alumni? How do we do it annually? Zach does a really good job of the athletic alumni wall of the recognition. So let's get a committee together and see if we wanna follow Zach's protocol, wanna take a look at how Watson does it. And let's get a committee together and move this forward.
I think that's a good suggestion.
I'll be on the committee.
Okay, Kevin, you're just.
So we don't-
Need a motion first. We
Committee.
don't have anything.
Thank you.
We have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to develop a committee to organize annual recognition of Mosinee School District alumni. Both Kevin and Mike have volunteered to participate on the committee. Further discussion from the board. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to item number 11, new business. Discussion and possible decision review new Neola public comment policy.
So this agenda item, following our discussion at our training with our attorney Bob Butler, Corey had requested that we take a closer look at our new Neolife public comment policy. Specifically, the following questions need to be clarified. When we do have public comment period and when we do not, and define what variance the chairman has when allowing comments. So there was a link to our public comment policy that's been approved for August 1st. I don't know if the board has recommendations at this point. Corey, I'll let you go, it's your agenda.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew what was, and it doesn't waver, it doesn't falter, it's stuck to. Because if we just allow people to speak, bring them in from time to time, it's not equitable to the public. They should be able to count on what we're doing. So if we have public comment at the beginning of a meeting on what's on their agenda, more than once we've had people ask, oh, should we when we get to that agenda item, should we let that person talk to it again? And we've done it both ways, and it's not equitable. We're either going to or not going to. And I would caution us against doing it, letting people speak when that agenda item comes up, because you're not allowing for both sides of the story. I think Bob echoed that point.
Any further discussion?
Well, the only ones I see possibly, looking at would be F and G. Participants shall direct all comments to the board, not to staff or other participants. Right now, currently, we have not been using that one, or even all statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No person may address or question board members individually. So maybe those are the two that we might want to look at compared to other, I know these are comparable to DC Everson, Roseanne's friendship. That currently we don't follow in some, because sometimes we do have interaction with people in the forum.
Well, when we do approve it, we better understand it. I don't know, I personally have an issue with how an H5 is administered. I guess it does have the caveat of with the board's approval. I want to see consistency, that's what I want to see.
Any suggested changes by any board members at this point? Do we want it brought back again to think
Well,
about it
it will
further?
be, right, because it comes up when?
We've approved it twice, so
Approved twice.
it's implemented as of August 1st. This will be implemented as of August 1st, but if you want to think about it, I can definitely bring it back to a June or July meeting.
Yeah. Make the motion to bring it back.
I'll second it.
Suggestions?
We have a motion and a second to bring it back to a future meeting in June. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11B is discussion and possible decision, board liaisons to the schools for the 17-18 school year. These were the same liaisons that participated, I believe it was a one-time meeting with each school during the referendum process, and wanted to double check those to make sure there isn't any overlap in the personnel, building and grounds, or finance committees, and then see if the board was still in favor of maintaining those committees
I'll make
the
a
same way
motion
they are today.
to keep them as stated here in the document dated May 16, 2017 Board of Education meeting minutes.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion from the board?
If I remember correctly, didn't we kind of have to post it or whatever? Wasn't that what Bob Butler was kind of telling us?
Liaisons?
Yes, they had to be
Well, he
posted.
said we should make a public motion
Yeah,
so that
okay.
everybody's aware of that. So
So
that
this is
goes
what
out
we're
in the
doing,
notes, that those are your liaisons to it. And as we talked about after the last survey last year, one of the things we would have is board member participation. But we would know that we would go to Mark and Kelly and Mike for an elementary. And Mark and Kelly and Mike don't serve on a different committee, so it's not as though they would
Yes,
be
right.
violating, it just happens that way. Matt, Diane, and Carolyn are all on a different committee, so it's not as though the finance committee's meeting if they get together for a middle school. And Matt Barnes, Corey, and Kevin are on different committees. It just happened that way, so it's great. So it's not like the personnel committee's meeting, so you're all separate. It's okay if all three of you go to an event at the middle school. So this is just a formal motion, just to publicly say that.
So we do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries as well. Item 11C, discussion and possible decision, approval of the 16-17 open enrollment applications.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion to approve the open enrollment applications for the 16-17 school year. Is it 16-17 or 17-18?
17, 18. So at the end of every year, we share any new applicants. So we have applicants that are currently existing, but these are new. So we're sharing that with you, new applicants who have applied for open enrollment. Below our first table shows the number of new applicants who requested to come to the Mosinee School District. And then the second things shows how many people have open enrolled out, requests we have to open enroll out.
So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries as well. Item 11B is discussion and possible decision, approval of high school and middle school student handbooks and elementary school parent handbook changes for the 17-18 school year.
Annually, we update our handbooks. That was in your background information. The biggest changes you saw this year really is in the changes of our policy numbers, because our policies will be changing by the time the students come back, so I'd say that's the biggest change to the school board policy 860 changed to 950, school board policy 431 changed to 5200. That's the biggest changes that you're going to see.
Motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion and a second to approve as presented. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries as well. Item number E is the teacher compensation meeting Q4 2016-17 meeting update.
The update is just to remind the board that we meet with our professional compensation committee. I shared with you in your background the different things that we discussed. I won't get into a lot of detail. You had links on the professional development. Super happy about the work that this committee does. They are bringing forward to you the approval of changes to Appendix G and miscellaneous compensation and approval of proposed changes to compensation schedule for professional educators, Appendix F. So very specifically, remember this committee takes a look at any changes. They look at any changes and it's all vetted through that committee. And what this committee is recommending is an additional Class A position. So when you look at our Appendix G, this Class A houses a number of different positions, Class B, Class C, Class D, Class E, Class F. They are recommending to you that there's an additional Class A position for varsity coordinator for football. There's quite a bit of information that was presented to the committee. There's quite a bit of information about all the tasks that was presented to the committee. Current data was collected also from people that are in Appendix G. We had 66 responses from surveys to define what the descriptors are, to make sure that as this proposal came forward to us, did it have all the information that was needed? And then how would we move forward if somebody comes again to the board? So I really think the committee did a lot of work on this and prior to bringing it forward to you, and they are recommending that the board approve a Class A position for a varsity coordinator for football.
for a motion from the board? Or questions?
I'll make the motion to approve the proposal changes to the appendix.
I'll second the motion.
Further discussion from the board?
What exactly did tax mean?
What's that?
What did tasks?
Tasks.
Tasks?
That's good, so we took a look at that, Mark,
I'm
and
struggling.
what we did is we asked, Paul, you're a part of our committee, but what we did is we asked the committee, them to define that. So they brought it down to pre-season, and then they showed all of the different things that they do in pre-season. And all of that is shown down here. So here are the pre-season tasks that they do, and that's what the varsity coordinator would do. Here are the season tasks that varsity coordinator would do, those probably 14 tasks. Post-season, those are the tasks that position would do. In regards to the youth programs, that's the task that varsity coordinator would do. So they really went, they did a summary for you, but they really went very detailed into all of the different tasks that position would do. And based on those identified duties, they recommended the varsity coordinator be put in that Class A level.
Currently, who is covering these tasks?
This is a new position.
Right, but I mean, you know, you added in two, who was doing these before, just the head?
I think we
varsity
saw
coach
that
at that time?
Mr. Novinsky doing that for quite a bit. Volunteers or trying to pay for Paul, trying to get somebody to do it. There's a lot.
So from an FTE standpoint, that would be a 0.2 or something, or?
No, it's just in the class. So the miscellaneous compensation, let me go to that. It's not a position of FTE. It goes in a different class. It goes in Appendix G. It's miscellaneous compensation. So I don't identify the head wrestling coach as a point anything FTE. It's just they're in that class.
You don't wanna know the hours they put in.
Yeah.
Hourly rate's about like a board member.
Probably not as stressful.
Would there be, would there be any concern from like any of the assistants or any of the lower classes that you're putting someone
Yeah,
in
we
that?
had that conversation
position?
quite a bit. We had that, you know, we thought about that, and we also thought, okay, who's next? Who's gonna come next? And so we developed, the committee actually went forward and developed a subcommittee of the data that we would collect if anybody wanted to come forward with a new request. So we have a very clear process that they would, you know, we thought of a lot of questions, we thought of a lot of descriptors in it, and how we would make that decision in the future. So I really do think that this committee did a lot of work in coming forward. And I think that if somebody comes to you again and says, you know, hey board, we need another Class A position, you can bet that they would have collected all of this data in order to get to that. That committee would make them do it. This came to the committee a while ago. We sent them back and we had this subcommittee work. We put an analytical mind on the committee, Dick Lynn. And so he's numbers, he's analytical. So from him, we came forward with, let's see what the 96 respondents are currently doing. Because we have 96 people that are in Appendix G right now. What are they doing? What are the tasks that they're doing? And so we collected all that data. And I would say that, you know, then Dick met with Zach and some of the people to get some anecdotal, like, collect information from them. So they took a long time doing this. It really started probably in November, prior to getting here in May.
So does the varsity coordinator report to the head varsity coach, or will he report to Zach?
He'll report probably to the head coach. He'll report to the head coach.
Okay.
Ultimately, Zach's responsible for all of them, but he'd report to the head coach.
Okay.
Who is the makeup of the committee?
The compensation committee?
Yeah, who's the makeup of that?
So that committee is a part of, it started as, it's been going now for 2 years, it's somebody from each level, basically. So when you look at,
So you got a cross-functional teams with
we do, and then when we look at that, when we look at our 6 levels, we look for representation from each level. And so we currently, we have representation from each level in our committee. When I look at our committee, Brent, myself, Darlene, Liz Perkins, Jim Leeds, Sue Brandt, Crystal, Nate, Donna, Paul, Dick, Stacy, Tom. So, I mean, that's the makeup of our current committee. And you can kind of see all of the work that we do. We meet 4 times a year. We'll continue to meet next year.
You know, some of the comments made with the financial too, of the budget,
Right.
is that a concern at all either?
I wouldn't bring it forward if we hadn't gone through Brent first. So he's a part of that committee, and I wouldn't bring it forward if he didn't say, yep, it's not gonna break the bank if we add a Class A.
Rent your paying.
But he might, but honestly, he might, like, because he'll often say, if we're gonna add this, we've got low numbers in this area, or this sport, or this activity, are we gonna cut that? So know that he's always fiscally at the table questioning the committee about that.
Further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Matt, was that for both the FNG?
Just for now.
Just for, okay.
Item number G is discussion and possible decision approval of the proposed change to compensation schedule for professional educators, Appendix F.
One of the things we noticed, and this just didn't happen before, but I guess that's why we meet. During our compensation meeting, we realized a very unique issue that we have in level 6. We currently require an employee to obtain a positive evaluation and 6 professional development points to move from 6B to 6C. In no other level do we require that additional professional development point to be obtained when a staff member moves from tier B to tier C. Now, when they leave the level, we do require it, but not within the level. And now, if you recall, the process for even moving up is a pretty rigorous process for the teacher to have an SLO, which is a student learning objective, and a professional practice goal. They have to have that the entire year. They have to perform, they have to have artifacts, they have to be satisfactorily observed, and they have to have a positive evaluation. So they go through a great deal of work to move in the compensation model. I think it's just a quirk. We couldn't really, when we talked in our committee, we didn't really know why we had it in there. We think it's an anomaly, and we would just recommend that we strike that they don't need the 6 PD points.
I'll make a motion to approve your recommendation.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries as well. Item 12 is a Curriculum and Standards Committee meeting report. Mr. Lind.
We met, and most of what we met on in May is coming up on the agenda, so I'll be very brief with our May meeting overview. We talked about 2 different extended field trips, both of which are recommended to come to the board. Tonight we had about a 40-minute presentation on academic and career planning, which is a new requirement by the state that is approved by the board. It's something we've been doing in this district for over 20 years and doing, I think, very, very well. And then we had an update on our trip to Costa Rica. So we had one of those students that traveled to Costa Rica came back and reported to us and shared some pictures, and he nailed down the student nailed down what his favorite part of the trip was, which happened to be every single thing he mentioned. So.
I do want to mention on our academic and career planning that Denny Flatham, Katie Goodman, and Gina Struble have been working so hard with that program, and that schools actually contact us to go and present to them. So just last week we were teaching Wausau East. We went to NTC about a month ago and taught a bunch of northern schools on how to do the academic and career planning. So those 3 they need to get some credit for all the work they're doing.
if we're transitioning to that part of the agenda, then I'll add Robbie Gradzolowski's done a great job at the middle school as well this year. It's all a part of those trips that those that had kids in the middle school or high school, when they go on the heavy metal tour, they take part in Mine Trekkers. They talk about, you know, careers and things that they might want to go into. They do a lot of interest inventories, and the goal of our program really is towards the bottom of that page, to give students and parents actionable information, something they can use that helps a student or a parent guide themselves to someplace they want to be in the future, someplace they need to be in the future, and not everyone knows that when they start the 6th grade. It culminates in our X interviews, which I know several of our board members and other reviews, community members and business partners with us have participated in, which is just a fun event when you watch our 160 kids come through and sit down with a group of two adults and go through a 20 to 30 minute interview and submit a portfolio to show where they've come. One of the things we're working on for next year is how to incorporate all of this into parent-teacher conferences and with our guidance staff as they sit down in a conference with students at both the freshman and junior levels. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you, Mr. Lynn.
And there's a requirement from DPI that the board approve that plan now, although, so we've been doing this in essence for over 20 years, but the state now is a DPI requirement that you approve that we do it. So
We have a number of items we'll be looking for a motion on, starting with item B, which is the approval of the academic and career planning program.
Matt, can we just make a motion, can I make a motion to approve all B, C, D, and E?
Sure.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve B, C, D, and E. Further discussion on any of those 4 items from the board?
For the field trip requests so timely, we have this problem.
no problems.
Sure, so. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Item 13 is building committee report.
Building committee
Meeting report.
Building committee met 7.5 hours ago. Discussed the AMCA sports complex and the preparations that Steve is working with the National Guard on. We heard an update on facility issues that the board should have been aware of, the plumbing issues at the school, and now the wading pool was presented. During that discussion, I posed the question to the building committee, do we really want to spend money on the wading pool? And I guess we really didn't have an answer for that, we really go forward to the whole board. We have other things that I think are more educational based in the district, and we're going to spend $3,000 or $4,000 on the wading pool.
If it's inoperable, is it a hazard?
They were in the middle of the project.
Yeah,
It was because there was a hole. There were holes in the sand was leaking out.
That's a bad thing in a pool, I would imagine.
and I would say it's something the community really uses, so I wouldn't have a problem with extending that Corey at all.
So we heard that report on the ongoing facility issues. We briefly spoke about the revenue limit exemptions, which we all just addressed earlier in this meeting. And then there was an update on the Bobcat skid steer purchase with that, assuming we're going to hear from the Finance Committee on. Item D was a discussion on possible decision on infrastructure failures. I don't remember that, it's been so long ago, we didn't come to a decision on. I had asked for that to be on the agenda because I think that we should be faster informed and more informed about the infrastructure failures. I'd go so far as to say if we have infrastructure failure, maybe we shouldn't be preparing it until every board member can lay eyes on it. Or certainly we should set maybe a time frame. To me, it's appalling that on a Friday, we had no working kitchens in our school district because the infrastructure is failing. Our community doesn't have a problem with that. We said that we wanted to make those changes, but I don't know that, you know, I'm pleased with the amount of participation we got from all the board members on that issue. So I just want to have the discussion and say, is the board happy with what we're doing when we're responding to infrastructure failures? Are we managing those crises appropriately? If no one wishes to speak to it, that's fine. I'll be satisfied that I brought it forward.
Well, we're documenting it, taking photos of it, and we're addressing it immediately. That's really what's happening right now. Well, I can't think of any other enterprise wouldn't do the same thing.
Are you suggesting we do something different for it? Something more? Like you mentioned the eyes on it by the board members, just to be,
We just spent a lot of our lives supporting a referendum to fix the very problems that now are patchwork.
Mosinee Times seems to be a means for communication. Do we consider as a board publishing these as a, you know, op-ed article? When these major maintenance failures come up, I would say yeah. You know, I don't know how much of the community is really aware of this when it happens, but we need to make them aware.
Do we have to discuss, I'm sorry, prior with sending out, how often do we send out the,
Link?
yes,
Oh, that's.
Nobody reads the link.
Yeah, well, no, that's so much lead times, do you know what I mean?
That is, there's a lot of them.
You think about in the connection, how much I'm putting there,
Right.
about crises that are happening. I don't think it'd be timely. Now, we will have a new website, so I could definitely put it there.
but how do you want to reach, again,
Right,
that don't have
right.
students, you
I
know,
would
who's
make
gonna go to the.
I would make a motion that we direct administration to publish, infrastructure failures within. Oh, I gotta be careful on the words. The times, you have to have the article done by Tuesday, correct?
Tuesday week before, right?
Yeah,
Tuesday by noon.
Tuesday and the week before.
No.
No, the week of.
Week of.
Okay,
Is it week of? I think it's week before.
Well, they printed on Wednesday, it's all.
Wednesday or
Yeah.
something.
And so it's Monday. I guess we call
I couldn't
them.
believe the length of time. That's why I thought it was a week before. Double check it.
well, if I just said within 7 days, it kind of covers everything, doesn't it? Huh? No? Yes?
Just say as timely as possible.
Okay. As
You know-
timely as possible, that it's published that there are infrastructure failures within the district, in the Mosinee Times, specifically.
So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion.
I still think we're missing the real value here. We're fixing failures. Where's the list of potential projects that are gonna mitigate and prevent these failures from occurring, and what are the costs for those? That's where we need to go.
Well, didn't we have that when we had the referendum?
Why don't we have that plan in front of us and have a priority list for us of how much we're gonna have to invest and when? That's where we need to go. We need a plan.
I thought we had a list of the failures when we went to the referendum.
So how much this year are we gonna put in, quite honestly, those items out of our budget? That's where we need to go. Those are hard decisions, but that's where things are going.
Well, so the waiting pool is the most important thing.
We don't know that, but we did discuss when we planned for this meeting, you know, a past look with Steve's help on understanding what has been our maintenance spend and what's planned maintenance spend versus these kind of, you know, inefficient fixes.
Kevin's absolutely right. We're gonna fix the waiting pool, because we gotta fix the waiting pool. We're gonna have a plan that's gonna prioritize, maybe we don't spend $3,000 on the waiting pool, maybe we spend $3,000 on taking this section of piping out before it fails again in the middle of summer. I understand the waiting pool is well used, but I'll fix that.
The
We're gonna
community
fix that.
reacts different, and the waiting pool isn't available. and-
The waiting pool's in one, plumbing inside the school is in the.
So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion from the board. Do we need to reread the motion so everyone understands?
Please.
Corey made the motion to direct administration to publish infrastructure failures as timely as possible in the Mosinee Times.
Sounds good. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel Committee meeting. Let me get my notes here. get to keep talking because I couldn't talk Kelly into it. Move through this pretty quickly. Item A is the acceptance of our gifted and talented coordinator's resignation. Unfortunately, Mrs. Brandon her husband took a job in York, Pennsylvania, and she'll be leaving the district, so I make the motion that we approve her resignation.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second, further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. I'm going to group the next four, which are all teaching hires. PK-12 speech and language pathologist hire, a high school mathematics teacher hire, an elementary school special education teacher hire, an elementary school reading teacher hire. The committee approved the hiring recommendation of all four of these individuals, and I make the motion that we approve as a whole board.
I'll second it.
Yeah, I'll do that separately. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Who makes it the personnel committee? I forget.
Kelly, Kevin, and myself.
Thank you.
Further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries as well. Item F is the discussion and possible recommendation, approval to increase kindergarten sections from 6 to 7 for the 17-18 school year. As everyone is well aware, the current 4K class is a large class, expecting it to be up around 145 students or so. So in order to manage that 20 to 21 student level in that class, another section was necessary. Same situation we have currently in the 5th grade, just a large class size. So the committee recommended we approve that additional section for kindergarten.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries as well.
This class is going to push a bubble through the school, just like the 5th grade class did.
There's probably going to be a section that follows them.
Did we know that?
What's that?
Did we know this bump was coming through the referendum process?
I doubt it
No.
was recognized. Because all of our population studies took place during the first referendum, and I don't know if that was updated for the second. So those students would have been 3-year-olds at that time. Corey and Heather entered the classroom.
That's interesting.
Not that that's where all that population info comes from, but
I understand.
it wasn't identified. Item G, discussion and possible recommendation, approval of extended contracts. This is something we do annually. Review the changes within the additional days, or pluses and minuses. It's really a near net zero to the district. I believe it's a $750 cost. As a committee, we reviewed and recognized moving forward as presented, so I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. We didn't have any discussion and possible recommendations for approval of additional resignations, retirees, or hires. However, with the action we took this evening for 4K, I'm going to make the motion that we move forward with adding an educator to support the 2 sections of 4K we decided to add tonight at the elementary school. That was a motion. So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion from the board.
Were you just gonna add to the school year, or are you gonna keep it open?
Good point. We'll add it for the 17-18 school year.
So this is replacing the body that was not approved by the rescind?
The 1.5 was not approved,
Yeah.
but remember, the 1.5 was approved at the March board meeting. Katie went out, interviewed, we solicited applicants, we interviewed applicants. We were bringing forward to the board a recommendation for 1.5 teachers at the next board meeting. We did not, after the May 4th, we did not plan on bringing that forward tonight. Now that the board has made the motion and decision to have 2 sections, we would bring that full-time teacher forward for recommendation for hire.
We need it for staff.
That concludes the personnel committee meeting.
Does not.
Oh, we didn't vote on that yet? What time is it? Brewers on. All right, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion from the board. My apologies. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That concludes the personnel committee meetings. Activities from the 3.5 hours ago, 4 hours ago. Moving on to finance committee.
Okay, this evening at the Finance Committee on May 16th, 2017, for a grand total of the voucher list is $1,096,454.72. That'll be a roll call vote, Jim.
You wanna make the motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Yes. Who's second?
I'll second.
Okay, Kramer?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Tomcheck?
Yes.
Hebel?
Yes.
Dallas?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Gorman?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
All yes.
Okay, the second issue is the treasurer's report, May 10th, 2017, for the month of April 30th, 2017. I would so move for the treasurer's report. This as well will be a roll call vote.
Gorman?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
Kramer? Yes. Keel?
Yes.
Tomcheck?
Yes.
Hebel?
Yes.
Alice?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
All yes.
Okay, item C through I is approval of Kidstown Child Care, approval of the hot lunch program and breakfast prices. Item E is St. Paul's hot lunch prices, and discussion and recommendation of the purchase of a paper cutter for graphic arts, and possible discussion of Fab Lab equipment for 2017-18 school year, and the approval of a Bobcat skid steer purchase, and approval of the furniture bid. I would like to lump these all together unless someone has a particular item they want to call out.
I would like to call out the paper cutter and the Bobcat.
Well, the Bobcat was a real good deal. We did a government pricing on the Melrose Bobcat. It comes with a broom, it comes with forks, it comes with a blade, and there was one other, did it have a snowblower?
Snowblower, yes.
Snowblower.
Is it
Is there a replacement?
does it come with
That's,
safety eye wash for the science department or ventilation for the science department? Do they sell those attachments?
Probably not.
No, I don't think so. Anybody ask me? No?
and.
I don't know, it's just me, I think that we should have a working eye wash station in the science department, or maybe improve the ventilation there, but, I mean, Bobcats are important in the educational process.
Is it a new item, or is it, it's a new item? So all of those services currently being
It'll
accommodated?
The lawnmower things that we
It
have.
replaces some of our aging equipment as well.
Primary purpose is for snow removal.
He doesn't want to replace aging equipment, then he wants you to make do with what we got.
And the paper cutter is ancient, and it's,
Brent, where did the paper cutter that we currently have come from?
Corey.
And what's the deal when I donated that paper cutter?
we keep it for life.
It comes back to me when you're done with it.
Well, I didn't remember that.
It's gone.
They broke it, you can have it back.
Where is it?
It's sitting in the high school,
It's fine.
in the, quite
When
frankly,
you
they
move it
got,
out, I want it back.
all right,
Big guillotine?
precision,
Roll
the,
cutter?
No, it's a precision paper cutter, you know, hold your fingers, cut the thumb. I donated it to the school years ago.
yeah.
I wasn't aware of that, Corey, thank you.
I'm not always I can't say that. Oh, maybe I am.
Okay, I would so move to accept all these agenda items.
A second.
Jeannie, let's have a roll call vote on all of it.
Tomcheck,
No.
Zebra,
Yes.
Alice,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes?
Kaiser,
Yes.
Kramer. Yes. Steele,
No.
2 no, 7 yes.
That concludes my financial report, Mr. Chairman.
What kind of warranty do you give with that Bobcat?
Huh?
What kind of warranty comes with that Bobcat?
That was one question that was.
Steve, what kind of warranty do you get with her?
10 years?
I'll have to ask that question. I can't think of the top of my head. I looked at 3 different units, so.
This was the
He'll
least
call you.
cost of the machine.
All right, moving on then to other reports, agenda item number 16. 16A is the audit report, correspondence, upcoming meetings, any update?
Yes, in July 14th and 15th, that's a Friday and Saturday in Green Bay, they have a summer leadership institute, and it does have some good sessions in there, so if you're interested, and it's on that site, right, the W.
Yep.
on
Yep,
that.
just go ahead and click, there's a
Yep.
hyperlink right there that'll take you right to
And
the
then it will
WASB
show
site.
you also what, there's a couple good ones, so if anybody's interested, let Jeannie know, registration deadline is July 7th. That's all I have.
CISA 9, I had no report, or no minutes, so.
I do have the paperwork, I think for your CISA 9.
So I just share with you some minutes from the April 5th meeting, and that was just in your packet.
Do we have a seat yet? On
No.
CISA?
No.
Can we ever, have to wait till somebody
It kind of
comes out?
rotates. We had one for many, many years, and then somebody didn't have one for many years, so the director just allows that to rotate.
Right.
She'll kind of like say, hey, you know, this district hasn't been,
Part of it.
yeah, but honestly, that's how it happens.
Right now.
This wasn't date night.
Just remind board members that item number 17, any future agenda items, Kevin's, Lori?
I would like Kevin's question answered on what our plans.
I believe that the list is part of what we received for the record, but Kevin has a valid point. What are we moving on first?
I think in developing that plan is going to take a lot of work.
Oh, are we
Prioritization.
started on it or are we not?
Right.
No, we needed that Bobcat.
So Kevin, if you have some ideas on how to approach that,
Email, is that okay?
Yeah.
I'll email him.
email the two of us, and maybe one, just the two of
Okay.
us. Anything else?
Are we gonna bring back the policy next month then too for the open public forum?
Yes.
Do we have any other policies coming forward?
No, because you've approved those.
Right, so just
Yeah.
the ones that we had questions about before,
Yeah.
I think like Kevin had one. Or we just have to address those if we want them to come back at a later date.
Just tell me what number you want to come back. Yeah, if you want something to come back, let me know, otherwise those are approved and moving forward.
Perfect.
I think Kevin's was actually the public comment.
Is that?
One of Kevin's was a public comment.
Oh, was it?
We have a motion and second to adjourn. Further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Takes you a break.
Motion carries, we're adjourned.